fuck. Alright everybody, welcome back to the final episode of the Obi-Wan-a-Thon. I know I said I would be doing 6 episodes for all 6 episodes of Kenobi, but I've been kind of overwhelmed by Obi-Wan, and honestly kind of wanted to mix it up a bit today with this last one because I feel like you guys have been too. So today we're going to go through a few of the customs that I've done. Like I said last week, I have some more customs that I wanted to show you guys and see what you guys all thought about them. So we are going to start off with an Obi-Wan custom just because it is the final day of the Obi-Wan-a-Thon, and then we're going to go into a few good guys, few bad guys, Trooper, a couple Mandalorians. So yeah, hopefully we're going to have some fun today. And you might also be wondering why I have these two guys. So, where'd my little pointer go? Paintbrush. Well, we'll use you this week. Alright. So, this little guy and this little guy right here are actually customs. Those are parts that I chose from a little thing at Hollywood Springs when I lived down in Florida. Hollywood Springs, Jesus. Disney Springs when I lived in Florida. At the Star Wars store, I don't remember which one it was, but at one of them, there's 2 there, they had a little Build-A-Droid depot, and they had all these droid parts. So, the first time I went, I'm gonna get him out of the way, pull him out of the way, I made this little guy, and I actually already have a name for him. I've had him for a couple years now, and he is one of the reasons why I love R4 units so much. But this is R4A9. I actually wrote it there at the bottom. But he is an R4 unit that I made on April 9th of, I think, 2017 or 2018. But that's why A9. That was just the day that I got him. So, what's really cool is you already seen me do that. You just had these containers of droid parts that you could put together and build your own droid out of. Which, really cool inner detail. I actually painted that with a wash to bring all that cool sculpted detail out. I don't think there was anything in the head. No, there wasn't. But I did give an overall wash to the figure because that's just how Star Wars looks, except for this leg. This leg's clean, whereas the rest of the body isn't, because this one's supposed to be a newer leg, and I just like visual storytelling like that. But that's this guy, one of my favorite figures in the entire world. I had actually got him when my grandparents came down on vacation to visit me and my dad, and yeah, so just a cool little dude. Love all the detail work on this guy, and all the panels are just so cleanly punched in. This one's a little wonky in how it's painted. It's a little wonky, but yeah, just neat little dude. He is a little yellowed. Unfortunately, I don't know how that happened, and it kind of sucks, but at the same time, it gives him a bit more character. And you know what? I'm okay with that. But just gonna put his little third leg back in there. And he does have wheels on the bottom of his feet. So if you want to roll him, he rolls fairly decently. Oh, come on. Go on. There you go. Okay, he rolls like shit, but you can still roll him. Anyways, so that was R4A9. This was one of the first customs that I got. The second time I went, it was just me and my dad this time. And I figured I got an astromech droid last time. This time I would get a protocol droid. So I built this guy. White arm, 2 different legs, 2 different arms, and a Death Star droid head, because I just think it looked cool. But once again, just pull them all apart. I'm not going to pull his legs off. I just don't feel like dealing with that. But the cool thing about this figure is that not only is it an astromech droid, it's a fully articulated astromech droid. And I actually wanted to go back there before I moved back up to build a C-3PO out of these parts, but I didn't make it in time, which kind of sucks. So, you do get a swivel at the head, swivel at the shoulder, no outward movement, but you do get a hinge and swivel at the elbow, and you can get a full range of motion in that elbow, which is really cool. I never seen that on a C-3PO figure before. I mean, yeah, I've seen it on the Black Series, but in a little toy like this, and then both of his wrists, moving on down, have a wrist swivel, which is another really cool thing to have at this scale. His hands are just slightly different in the way that they're shaped. One's more of the classic C shape, one's kind of like that. But no, and then as you can see, he's got a very free ab crunch, so he can crunch that much. Here, let's stand him up straight. He can crunch that much and bend back that much, as well as it acting as a waist swivel. And then legs can't kick out all that far, but I don't really need them to. I mean, he's an astromech droid. Anyway, so legs kick out that far, bend at the knee, which is another thing that I've never had on a C-3PO figure before. I didn't have the Clone Wars one, maybe the Clone Wars one did. And then you get a pin going up into the shin that hinges down and up, and you got a swivel. So overall, these little astromech droids, all of the parts at this little shop, they do all have the same amount of movement, which is really cool. Anyway, so the reason why I wanted to show you this guy is because I built him a few years ago as well, and I have absolutely no idea what his name is. Don't know his personality type or anything. All I know is that he's a protocol droid. So, I want you guys, I will be posting this on this guy on my Instagram and my Twitter, and I want you guys to help me name him. I only think that's fair. But, yeah, so let me know. Anyway, moving on into the first proper custom, and one of the first customs I ever did in my early days of customizing. This was long before the Vintage Collection actually made a figure for this guy, and it was long before I knew what making custom figures were. So, here is my first ever custom Obi-Wan figure. And he is made out of a few different pieces. Alright. So I'm just gonna move the camera up. So this guy was one of my first customs ever. Like I said, I made him before I knew that the Vintage Collection was making this guy. I think when I made this guy, the 3 3/4 black series was still a thing. Oh, there's a cat hair on him. So, yeah. So, what I did was I took a Clone Wars Obi-Wan body. So, oh, shit. Alright, I'm gonna set, I sense a theme for today. And to combat that, stand. Aha. Okay, so for the torso, belt, skirt, and legs, the thighs, I mean, I used one of the seasons 1 and 2 Clone Wars Obi-Wan body. And then for the shins and the arms, from the shoulder to the wrist, I used just a regular standard episode 3 phase 2 clone trooper. Wrists came off of a Clone Wars clone trooper because I needed that articulation in the wrists, and we'll get to that later. And this head came from an Obi-Wan action figure. I'm not sure which one it was, but from the looks of it, it was episode 3. I went with this one because it had that tousled hair coming off to the side. I made this guy in like 2017, and I still haven't gotten around to painting the beard, so, you know, exactly. Anyway, so, moving on, I did want to keep as much articulation in this figure as possible, and I did. So, starting off at the head, ball joint at the neck, which I actually had to fiddle with just a bit to make it so that it would fit this head. I think it was just a bit too big. Anyway, ball joint at the top of the head, or at the top of the neck, full 360 degree, great side to side. You can look up that far, down that far. Arms go all the way out, spin, and then full 90 at the elbow. And then this wrist has the hinge and swivel on it. The hinge goes in and out like that, and swivel. In this hand, hinge and then up and down. So, moving on down, we do have a waist swivel. And then legs can kick out that far, kick back way farther. Oh, shit. And then bend at the knee like that. That's a little over 90. No outward movement at the hips. And then pin going into the shin, down, up, and then swivel. So overall for posability, I've kept just about everything from each figure, and this guy's just loads of fun to pose. I wish he had ankle pivot, but hey, what are you gonna do? So, as far as accessories goes, of course he has Obi-Wan's lightsaber, because he is Obi-Wan Kenobi. And getting him in a two-handed pose is actually relatively easy, kind of. Sometimes the lightsaber doesn't want to fit into the hands. There we go. There we go. And the fact that he can hold it relatively straight up and down makes me happy. Yeah, so anyway, that was the first custom for today. One of my favorite figures in my collection, and when I saw that the Vintage Collection had remade this guy, or re-released this guy, I thought about getting him, but I didn't because I already had one that I really liked. God, this video is already almost 16 minutes long. Shit. There goes me trying to do a shorter video today. I'm gonna keep with the Clone Wars theme real quick. There it is. So, for this figure, I took the newer Vintage Collection Ahsoka, and I replaced the head with the other newer Vintage Collection Ahsoka, but gave the old Leku to the newer head. I'll just show you. So, here is my custom head swap and forearm swap, Vintage Collection Ahsoka Tano. So, the reason why I wanted to do this, I'll have to, oh no, it's right here. The reason why I wanted to do this was because of this figure, whose head was just fucking perfect. Like, when I saw this head, I was overwhelmed with how much that looked like the character, but real. This looked like Ahsoka. Like, she just jumped off the screen and into, like, real life. So, when I saw that the Vintage Collection was re-releasing this figure, but with... shit. This is not going to be easy to show you. With this head, I was very disappointed, because this looked nothing like the character to me. I mean, yeah, it's really well done. The paint on it is perfectly done. It has printed on eyes and facial features, but the face shape itself, it just didn't feel like Ahsoka to me. So I grabbed another one of these because I didn't want to destroy this head because of this video, actually. So I grabbed two of these, and I took a Dremel, and I did it the hard way. I Dremeled out the old face and stuck the new face inside of it, and just getting in on it, looking at them side by side, I think this one is a major improvement. Anyway, so what I did, this head had a ball joint coming up from the neck and going into the head. So what I did was I took that ball joint, I took a pair of clippers to it, or snippers to it, snipped off the ball joint, and then Dremeled inside of it all the way down into the neck so that the dumbbell joint could fit inside of it. Just like that. And it holds on really tight. You get all of the movement from the dumbbell joint. Yes, it's a little limited because of the Leku, but I don't care. And then took the Leku off of this head, which was really easy to do. Everything... Her face is a completely separate piece from her crown up. So that was really easy coming off. But overall, I just love how this came out. I repainted it so that it would look even that much nicer. And then for the forearms, I went with these instead. I know it's not accurate to how she looked in the show, but I wanted the swivel at the top and at the wrist right here. The only other gripe that I have about this figure is that she has no ankle pivot. No rocker ankle. Which sucks, especially for a character like Ahsoka. I got the new Corvus Ahsoka from The Mandalorian, and it has rocker ankle. Hell, this one has rocker ankle. And I just wish that they would go back in and release a new sculpt for this figure. Anyway, so that being said, alright, let's go all the way back to Knights of the Old Republic. We have Revan, which looks dope as shit. And then we have Nihilus, which also looks dope as shit. Anyway, so I'm gonna take a drink real quick. Anyways, so what makes these two customs? Well, I'm going to start with the Revan because I did the least with him. So, the Revan is the same base figure. I swapped out the hood and the cape with a new one. The cape is now soft goods instead of plastic. I pleated this, all of it myself, to make it look a lot nicer from the front. And then I gave him a new hood. This actually came from the 5 POA Last Jedi Luke from Octo. Painted it black, made it match the color of the fabric. And it's a little off, but I don't really care. And then I repainted the mask. The mask was just painted all wrong. Made it look more like the Black Series figure. And then here at the skirt, this piece was all plastic as well. And he couldn't move his legs. Not that he can move his legs now, but it still just looks better in my opinion. Once again, more like the Black Series figure. Yeah, I have it it's coming up over the belt, because I didn't boil and pop this guy to get this skirt on, because I still need to find a better pair of legs for him. Because his legs are just, I don't know if you can see it, they just go forward and back, and I'd like some articulation in them. But other than that, he is using a lot of the base figure parts, which, even still, even with him using, even with him using the base figure stuff, it still looks really cool. And that's all I really wanted, was for him to look cool. At least cooler. And he does. And I'm happy. If you want to see more of him, I do have a couple pictures of him up on my Instagram. And same with this guy. Alright, so this is a custom Darth Nihilus figure. And this guy was really cool. So, I'm going to try to, up on the screen, do pictures of a side-by-side right here with my Mark I Darth Nihilus, in which I used a Luminara Unduli head that I had repainted with a fabric cape, the skirt from that same Luminara figure, and a Darth Maul body to make my Mark I Nihilus, which worked for a long time for me. And then I was looking at it. I actually just redid him last week. I was looking at him, and I was no longer happy with him. So I took the head off, and I found the hood for the Vintage Collection Darth Maul. Don't at me. And I had took the head from that old Darth Maul. More pictures. Hey, okay, just gonna pause the video here real quick. I'm editing this, and I realize that I permanently deleted all of the photos of the unpainted Maul head from my phone, which was a very stupid thing for me to do. I'm really mad about it, but I don't have the pictures, so I guess just enjoy a picture of a duck or something. I don't know. Yeah, that was it. Enjoy the rest of the video. I'm gonna actually bring it closer now. More pictures. They had forgotten to paint in the eyes and the teeth on that head for Darth Maul. So I got that one. I got it at a discount. I think I got him for like $5 at a comic book store because of that. And I had specifically gotten them for custom fodder. So, wasn't too upset at the loss for it. Anyway, so, came back, took the skirt from the Luminara, took the newer Maul body, and then took the head, snipped the horns off of it, and repainted it, as well as getting rid of his nose. Yeah, I know he has a nose you can see through his mask, but I figured that looked creepier because Nihilus is kind of creepy. Anyway, so yeah, this is my Nihilus Mark II. It's just a basic red lightsaber for him. Fits nicely into his hand, which I think used to belong to a pilot Luke. Still want to get the newer Vintage Collection Darth Maul, so I can get rid of these swivel arms. But for now, that'll work. Oh, he came off of the stand. But in taking a look at this guy, and taking a look at the actual official Darth Nihilus figure released by Hasbro, looks like that was another Darth Maul retool. So I'm not too far off with this guy, even in the official sense. So anyway, that is the custom Darth Nihilus that I did. And yeah, I think he looks cool. Alright. I have 3 more figures that I want to show you. 2 of them are repaints, and then 1 is a kit bash. So I'm going to go over the repaints first. Well, I'm going to go over the pure repaint, and then the repaint / kit bash. And then I'm going to go over the pure kit bash. Alright? Okay. So here we have a Episode 3 Clone Trooper that I replaced the belt and added the little neck piece on, the little pauldron. and I made a Phase 2 concept for Captain Fordo. I mean, I know he has his Phase 2 Bark Trooper armor that we all saw him in that one scene where he... Ah, God. What a guy. Anyway, so... Fordo's one of my favorite characters. When I saw that he didn't get a true, like, Phase 2 armor, I was kind of a little pissed, just a bit. So I took it upon myself, and I made him some Phase 2 armor. Anyway, so he was just a regular standard Phase 2 clone trooper. From Episode 3. I think the pauldron came from Davis. I don't know where the skirt came from. I think I did buy that piece separately from Wizard World Comic Con back in 2017. He is a newer painted figure. Blah. Antenna, I don't remember where the antenna came from. Anyway, but yeah, just quick repaint on his armor. Here he is from the back again. And seeing him from the back, it's just fucking cool. Because you know exactly who he's supposed to be just from seeing his armor from the back. And you know what? I think I nailed that. And then one more time from the front. Oh. But anyway, I did try and keep the articulation in this figure. So the head does move side to side, but it's very hard to do because of the pauldron. This body really wasn't made to have that. So his head is a little hard to move, but you can move it if you try. Arm. This arm goes all the way out. Forward is a little hampered. I might replace this, figure out something to do with this so that I can get the arm up farther. And then elbow all the way up still, wrist unimpeded. You can get him to pull out his guns real easy. It goes back farther than it can go forward, which kind of sucks. This arm, though, out all the way up. Well, for the most part. And then that far out. Forward, or backwards rocker. Forwards rocker. Or forwards rocker. Ab crunch back and forward. Swivel at the ab crunch, no waist swivel down here. And then the legs are a little hindered by the skirt. I do wish it was a cloth skirt. And yeah, as you can see, it got unpinned. But forward, knee. That was my one complaint about these 2005 figures, was that, because the skirt is definitely from that era of toys. It wasn't cloth, so anything from the waist down, you couldn't do it. It was just gone. So anyway, Phase 2 Fordo. Yeah. Alright. Now, here is my next custom. Once again, no name for him. He is a custom of the newer Vintage Collection Boba Fett from Return of the Jedi. You've seen this guy on my Instagram if you followed me there. but he is a kit bash figure, and that means that I've taken parts from other figures and added them to this figure to make it more unique. The Ahsoka was technically a kit bash. The Nihilus was a kit bash. Stuff like that. But this is more of a kit bash in the sense that I just took accessories and then added them to the character so that he would be different from the original. So here is this guy without the rifle in the way. And you know what? For a fully, well, not fully painted character, but a mostly painted character, I'm really proud with how this paint job came out. It looks clean. It's rubbing off a little bit on the corners, but that's okay. I'm not really too worried about it. The helmet's not rubbing off at all. The jetpack is, the arms are just a little bit, and then the knee pads are, but the chest isn't. But the fact that I got him, you could tell it used to be a Boba Fett action figure, and there's still just a little more work that I want to do to it. I want to replace the legs with actual... Can you stand, please? One of the only problems that I actually have with this Boba Fett figure is that he hates standing. There we go. I want to replace it from the knee down so that he has actual, like, knee-high boots. Got a couple legs in mind for that. I will be missing out on this ankle pivot, though, which kind of sucks, but oh well. But, no, so... Scarf came from an Asherad Het, and the belt and cloth piece came from, I do believe, Vintage Collection Starkiller. I don't have either of those figures. They came in a parts lot. But I looked into where these parts came from when I made it, just out of curiosity. He has a thermal detonator at his hip. Just easy grab and throw. I gave him a little blaster and a little holster. I do believe the blaster came from Tobias Beckett. I repainted it. And then just for shits and giggles, a little lightsaber, because he's a Mandalorian. He kind of looks like he's from the Death Watch, so a Mandalorian that can kill a Jedi, it's just, it makes sense. And then I gave him this little carbine-looking thing. Don't know what this came from, but it looks kind of neat. I thought it fit the aesthetic of the new-ish Mandalorian show, where everything was treated more like a Western, which is partially why I gave him the Tobias Beckett blaster, because it looks like a revolver. But yeah, just cool little figure. Once again, kept all of the articulation, maybe hindered the leg articulation a bit with the skirt, but other than that, just really, really neat looking figure. Anyways, last but certainly not least, when I was a kid, there was one Star Wars book that I could not put down. And it was, I do believe, Shadows of the Empire. And like I said, I couldn't put this thing down when I was a kid. I would reread it over and over because I just loved it that much. And one of my favorite things about this book was the design of Luke Skywalker. It was featured very prominently on the cover of the book, and it just looked like Return of the Jedi Luke with a different belt and a vest. So I went ahead and I made that figure. So this was the first ever figure that I did that swapped the head out from one that had a ball joint at the top of the neck with a dumbbell joint head. This head came from the Pilot Luke figure, which has one of the best Luke-alikes. Okay. So I gave him the Pilot Luke head, and then the vest came from Jyn Erso, and the belt came from Dagobah Training Luke, I do believe. But no, this design for the character just holds a very special place in my heart. And the fact that I was able to get him as an action figure with modern day posability and articulation, and not only that, 2 sword-wielding hands. Yeah, 2 sword-wielding hands. Gonna say it again. For awesome two-hand wielding for a lightsaber. And posability on this guy is just fucking awesome. So I hate the hips, but the head, because it's on the top of that ball joint, you get down, up, really far, and then side to side, and then full. Is it a little ugly from the side? Yeah. Can I paint it to make it better? Yeah. Am I going to? Probably not. He looks fairly proportionate, to me anyways. He looks like he has a neck. So, anyway, arm up and round. Elbow that goes past 90. Like I said, 2 sword-wielding hands. So, up and down at both wrists. Why does he need that? No clue. But love having it anyways. Waist swivel. Hate the hips. Kick out that far. Then forward. That's far, but it's on that little rotate kind of kick, so instead of just kicking out, he kicks out and to the side. I mean, yeah, you can fake it, but when you want to make him sit down, he sits down like that, and it just looks wrong. Bend at the knee. Looks like a little past 90. Yeah, a little past 90. Just a bit, though. And then pin going into the shin. Down. Barely any up. And then a swivel. But yeah, one of my favorite designs for the character actually came from the book, which is kind of cool. Anyway, those were just a few of the customs that I did. I wish I could go into more detail about why I wanted to do them and why I didn't just buy the actual figures for them. In this one's case, especially this Luke, there wasn't one that would fit in with my modern vintage collection. So I made one that would fit in with my modern vintage collection. So yeah. If you liked today's video, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. And I will see you guys in the next video. Yeah, I hope you guys really liked it today. I'm not sure how I'm feeling about it, but yeah. Peace.